Hey everybody, it's Scott Nelson again, and I am back with our Simple Success Strategies training. This is our session number 2. Today we're going to move a little bit further in going through some of the strategies that are going to enable you on a daily basis through a number of different strategies. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the strategies that is going to enable you with consistency. You'll get better and better each and every day. Plan to spend a minimum of 15 to 20 minutes, maybe 20 to 30 for your first few days, first few weeks. But these techniques, I can tell you, are going to pay huge dividends and is going to do one thing for you. It's going to teach you to fish on your own and build a targeted contact list of people that are like-minded. If you are looking for downline sales partners for your network marketing business, this is going to give you people that are like-minded. As we spoke about yesterday, the type of people, if you are building a downline in a traditional network marketing, MLM, affiliate marketing, is not your mom or your parakeet or your dog, your next door neighbor. For the most part, these are people at this particular moment in life. I guarantee most of them you do not know, and most of them you will not meet. So let's get busy. Please, as always, watch this recording from the beginning to the end and make sure you get into a quiet place. Close off all your cellular phones, your Facebook, anything that could distract you. Children, grandchildren, wife walking in and giving you her to-do list. Take about 30 minutes to an hour, whatever this takes, and then you can review it. Also, I recommend having a scratch pad, taking down notes with any questions, anything you don't understand, because at the bottom of the little training here you see in front of you, there will be an email address where you can email any questions that you have after going through session number 2. Remember, we released session number 1 yesterday, session number 2 today, and then, of course, section 3 and section 4, that will be complete, and then we will have a final live webinar. So if you want to come on live and get your questions answered by myself, we'll have that set up. And I think tentatively that is set up for the 15th of July, 2019. So stay tuned for that. At the beginning here, I always want to say that this training, this disclosure, is that this training is my sole property. It's offered by me. It's not endorsed in any way, sponsored or related to On Passive or Go Founders or any other public or private direct selling or companies. The information on these videos, the teaching, the training is not for anyone in particular. Certainly it's not just for people that are working with me in On Passive. It's available to help anybody that really is serious about changing their life forever. I reserve the rights to all of my materials here within, and you do not have any permission from me to post in any public or private domains, nor in any social media platforms without my express permission, and only share in private with your personal contacts. Make sure that they understand to read these disclaimers that appear at the beginning of all of the written information. I hope you enjoy and benefit with what you're going to learn in these recorded training and success steps. So let's go ahead and get started. Today we're going to be talking about preparing for excellence and long-term success. Remember that probably about 97% of you that are watching and going through this training probably all struggle with 3 things. Number 1, you're not a salesperson and you don't want to be. Number 2, you're afraid to recruit and you probably never really have recruited anybody out of a completely cold marketplace, and thus it only makes sense, the number 3 and the largest excuse I hear when I approach people and have approached people about joining my business is, well, I'd love to join you, Scott, but I just don't have anybody that I can talk to. Scott, you're so lucky because you have a huge list. Yes, I do. It took me 15, 16 years to build it. So don't think this is going to happen overnight. So let's, excuse me, let's get started and let's talk about really what is a real relationship. It's not, sending somebody an email saying, hey, I want to be your friend, and then they join you and then you throw a link. Let me give you an example here of some of the hilarious things that happen over on Facebook Messenger. I hope everybody can see this. Here is a guy, and he says, he sends me A.R. Patel. He sends me a messenger request to be a friend. Of course, that's how you would start a relationship, wouldn't it? And then you would think if I replied back and I said, hi, A.R., well, he never even gave me a chance to respond to accepting his friend request. He didn't even wait for that. You see that little wave button there? This is what came back immediately after I accepted his friend request. Offer, lending platform, referral compensation. First prize is 1 Bitcoin. Now, do you think that anybody in their right mind would get back or would ever think, there'll be a few, maybe you send out 1,000, 2,000 of these, you get a couple of clicks just because curiosity kills the cat per se, but this is not the way. This is just an example of not building a relationship this way, and this is why I'm not really a big Facebook person. Facebook, once again, is not the place that you're going to go and find serious marketers. You're going to find a bunch of beginners or newbies that maybe go and spam everybody they can and throw links. Then let's look at the second example. Here is Larry. Larry says, hey, Scott, how you doing? I saw you lived in Arcadia, blah, 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 small town, but a nice one. Well, no, actually, Larry, it's about 75,000 people. I guess it might be small to Los Angeles, but it's certainly not small to Sandpoint and Hope, Idaho, which is about 200 people. So there's Larry. That's about as personal, I think, as Larry can get. And he says, hey, sorry, have a blessed day, Larry. Well, then just a couple of minutes later, hey, Scott, are you interested in improving your finances or your health? Hope you're having a great day. See, again, there's no relationship. And in order to build a relationship, you have got to find ways of marketing, okay? But marketing is not based on what the first step is. You've got to have a relationship. So not that sending a friend request out to somebody that you maybe did some research and found out that they were in some network marketing groups. You can certainly do that over at Facebook. Just to give you an example, let me just jump over and you can just go to Facebook. And then if you want, you can go to groups over here on the left if you have a Facebook account. And then basically you can go up here and put anything you want. So network marketing. And there's millions. Here's some different groups that pop up. So network marketing friends, just click on it. It will open up. It will tell you, here's a group of people that probably are like-minded. You can come up here. I wouldn't recommend this group because it's really only 30 members, but you could join it if you want. And once you join it, you'll have access to. Here's network marketing friends. Click on that. It's going to tell you a little bit about network marketing friends. It's going to tell you, basically you can see posts. Now these people, keep in mind, are probably not the best people to go after, but if I was going to do something like this, these would be the people that I would write. I would click on the name, okay? Here you can see they've been a member. Royal Loans has been a member since 2013. You could certainly, this would be kind of spammy, but you could either do this, you could just send him a message, hey Royal, I came over here and looked at your business. He's promoting a business right here. So what I would do if I was going to do that is, hey Royal, and do call his number, listen to the message, and then basically I would then message him and I'd say, hey, Royal, I went and I listened to your message. I see that you're in the abundance group. So am I. Have you been having success with abundance group? And then he's going to probably write you back. If you can go in here and you can find out what he's doing before you respond to him, then when you write him, see here, my wife and I save 30 to 70% on trips. Okay, so maybe you send him an email. What travel company are you with? And address him by his first name so it doesn't look spammy. Or you can just add a friend request, and when he responds and accepts you, you'll get a notification. And then write him a note and say, hey, Royal, this is Scott Nelson, or whatever your name is. Hey, thanks for accepting my friend request. I live out in Idaho. Whereabouts are you located? I would still recommend when you do this, if you want to use Facebook, make sure that you send him a couple messages that truly talk about his business, but even beforehand, that first little introduction. Hey, I live in Idaho. Where do you live? I noticed you're promoting a travel company. What company are you promoting? And then when he writes back, he'll give you probably some of his links, but then say, have you been working online for a long time? I just started a year ago. Not having a ton of success yet, but learning how to build my list and something like that. And then just get into a conversation. It doesn't have to be more than a couple of minutes. If you don't feel that there's a good connection, or if he doesn't sound like he would be open or doesn't ask you about what you're doing, then go to the next person. So that's a way that you can go online and seek out a relationship. But doesn't matter where you find your contacts, is just remember that when you talk to people, it's all about not being like the competition. The competition, like I showed you, that sends you a friend request, their next message to you before they even ask you much about your name or where you live or anything is a link or an invitation to the webinar. The only thing I would recommend that you do, let's see if we can go back. I think I lost those messages. But what I do is if I want to really build my list, see, part of building your list and building relationship is anybody that solicits you, do everything possible that you can to capture their name, their email, and their phone number. Okay, so let's go back over to Facebook here for a minute. So what's a good way to do it? Okay, so I go to Royal's page, and I'm now going to look, and there it is. There is a website of some sort. Let's see. Okay, so he's trying to capture the information. That's good. I mean, he's not building relationship with me, but nonetheless, you can choose to do this, and I recommend it if you want to build a list more effectively. Remember, you're looking for only one thing. You first of all have to make sure that it's somebody that is involved in the business, the type of business, the type of product sales, you know, the like-mindedness. Now, you don't go to a airline traffic control school to gather that type of information. So you could choose if you want. Just remember, you're going to be put into the autoresponder, but you can unsubscribe. But I believe that when you're trying to build a relationship, the first thing before I have any conversation through Messenger or phone or text is I want to know what he's doing. So I can put my name and a legitimate, maybe it's a secondary email address, so you don't get your regular email bombarded. And your phone number is optional. Most people choose not to, and I would not do that up front. But if I was not afraid to receive a phone call from Royal, I would definitely do that. I would watch his video, okay? Then I would go back to his website for Uber, whatever that is. It's a world launch, okay? And then I would go back to messaging. I would go back to him if I already had an open message box, because when you click on message, it's going to give you an opportunity to come to Messenger, and you can, hopefully, this is operating slow. Here you'll be able to do a message to Royal. I would say, hey, Royal, I went to your Uber business. I watched the video you probably see. Has that been profitable for you? You know, how much money are you making? Have you been doing it for a while? Hey, by the way, where do you live and stuff? And just engage him. So now he knows that you are not a tire kicker and that you are trying to find out more about what he's doing. Another thing is you can go in here and literally find hundreds of groups. And remember, this is about building relationship. That's a really good way to do it, okay? Other ways you can do it is anytime you get an email from somebody. I get 100 a week of other business opportunities. So I still engage them the same way. I engage them with asking them questions about themselves, about their family, about their passions. And then it leads into, how are you doing in your business? Ask them questions. Here's some great questions. If you're recruiting like I am for On Passive, for lead generation and traffic, because they all need it. Remember, 98% don't make any money. 80% of the people that get in network marketing, remember yesterday on the first training, they don't ever recruit even one person. So Royal probably is not a great recruiter. I can tell you I know that for a fact, because he wouldn't be hanging out on Facebook groups trying to sell his opportunities there. He would be using good online tools, marketing suites, and everything else to much more rapidly build his list. But nonetheless, when people send you emails, respond back. You know, don't say, no, I'm not looking, but would you be interested in mine? No. If you're going to build relationship, it is going to be based on long term. Maybe you don't even get to talk to them about your business until your third or fourth interaction. Remember, the first 5 interactions should be them about their business. Let them shoot all their bullets, empty their chamber and their 6-shooter, and guess what? Now you got fresh ammo and you built some sort of a relationship. Offer them personal emails. So I'm talking to him. I say, hey, Royal, I got to run out for an appointment. I'd like to talk with you further. What's your best email? Here's mine. And give them a legitimate email. Doesn't have to be your private email. Just use one specifically designated that you check every day for messages, okay? So if you give them yours, and if you want to give them your phone number, that's up to you. They're going to give you the same information. Say, hey, let's swap information when I get back in the next day or so. Let's get back together. I'd like to ask you a few more questions, okay? They'll normally give you, and then you go over to your list, okay? This is what a list looks like, okay? This is a Excel spreadsheet. If you don't have Excel, you can see it up here in the top left corner. You can get it. It costs you some money if you have a Mac or you have a laptop and you have your basic program. You can get Excel usually. It's not expensive. You don't need the business model. Just get the cheapest you can get, where you can get sheets like this. This particular spreadsheet here just has email addresses. I'll do whatever it takes. If I start with just email addresses, that's all that will be there. And since all I'm going to teach you is what I use for my email marketing as we move forward here, this is what my daily activity looks like. If you are building offline or online with like Facebook, those groups is a great way to build. If you just want to get full contact information, it would simply start with column A. This says B, but column A is not here because it has the numbers here. But column B, it could be their first and last name, and then give a space, and then you can move these columns wider. This could be email. I like to have indentations between them. And then item F could be phone numbers, okay? So you can make your columns as lot, and then once you are adding to them, at the end, you go up to File, Save As, and then here, This would be Scott's fully verified clean master email list. And then usually what I do, you can see I dated when I started to build this particular list, 2017. It's Excel workbook I've got open, and then I can save it. And I usually save it either to a file, which would show up right here, or I would share it to my desktop. I like my desktop because when I save it to my desktop, all I have to do is click here, and it shows me the most recent. I can find my files, okay? So that is the simplicity. Every single time, what I would recommend is get Excel or something that you're comfortable using, and then what I would do is I would make sure. So if I get an email, let's go and see here while we're live. Is there anything happening over here at Hotmail? Let's just see if I got any solicitations. Okay, nothing right now. But here was one earlier. Hey, Scott, how are things going? Okay, so I captured that information. Okay, and that's what you want to remember is capture any information and then make sure, even if you don't get to talk with them, make sure if there's information, sometimes at the bottom of the email, they have their name, their website, and they have their phone number and their email. They give you everything. Add it right to your spreadsheet. And just every single time, keep your Excel spreadsheet. If you don't have a list now, you'll be easy to keep that on your desktop. Label it My Contact List or My Marketing List. And you update it every time you update it, and it's a different day. Go at the top up there, remember, and make sure in that where it says My Marketing List, then put the date that you last visited and then save to your computer or to your file or to your desktop. It's really easy to do. And then you'll know how new it is last time you were there, okay? So it's a really great way. But once again, you must build long-term relationships by developing a relationship where you, for the first 5 or 6 contacts, are gathering information for a targeted prospect, and the end result should be an icebreaker that takes you no more, even if you have 5 or 6 conversations, probably no more than a total of 20 to 30 minutes over 6 visits. So maybe an average of 1 to 3 minutes in interaction. If it gets really good and there's maybe some interest, don't be afraid to, when they say, hey, what do you do? Well, I'm helping to launch a brand new lead generation and traffic platform called OnPassive. We're just at a pre-beta right now. We're just putting founders in. It's and get your little 10 to 20 second elevator pitch. So if you're on the phone, you don't sound like you're desperate. You remember, you want to be the one that is pursued. Even though you're pursuing them, don't let them know. You want to be the one that they think that is moving to signing up with their event. It's just developing where there's a trust. And when you get to the point where you say, I don't think, Royal, I'm going to join your Uber program. I'm just not at this point able to get anything more on my plate. But I just want you to know how much I enjoy. With your permission, could I keep you on my contact list and we can share ideas? And oh, by the way, if you haven't talked about it, have you heard about OnPassive? And the reason I ask you, it may help you to be able to generate daily visitors to your Uber site or to your Melaleuca site, okay? So remember, relationship, long-term, no rush, don't hurry, differentiate yourself from the 98% that are doing it wrong. And to do this, obviously, it takes time. It takes focus. It takes consistent daily commitment. That's right. And this is something that does not happen overnight. People say, Scott, you're always successful because you got this huge list. But they neglect to remember, I've been doing this every day, pretty much, at least pretty consistently, for 15, 16 years. And I update my list. If I send emails out, I always go back in. I'm going to cover it in tomorrow's training when we actually are going to be doing some mailings to show you some examples of what I do. And we're going to talk more and more about how the system works. how easy it is in 15 to 20 minutes a day to generate leads. If you don't want to be on Facebook, if you don't have any sort of contact list, believe me, following a simple emailing system that I use, a 63-year-old man still, even though I'm stepping back now and I'm no longer wanting to do it anymore. So I've got some good news about that. We'll talk about that tomorrow and on Training 4 that will give you a real jump start for those of you that are ready to commit and want to use this emailing platform. It's just an emailing strategy, not even a platform, and you'll see how simple it is. But 10, 15, 20 minutes a day. And if it goes any more than that, it's simply follow up people wanting more information. You might want to send them a thank you email for reviewing your information. And then I always want to make sure, because we know, and you should know, that the fortunes that you make in any sales or network marketing, direct selling, is always in your follow-up. And unfortunately, back in the 1990s, something happened which I think was really one of the biggest problems that's really made it a lot more difficult to build a business. We used to do it belly to belly, face to face in a hotel meeting, or, we didn't have computers, but computers have really delegitimized the need for personal relationship and professional follow-up. And most of you are chicken to pick up your cell phone or your landline when you have somebody's information and they've requested information about whatever business or products or services you're promoting. You don't even call them to thank them if you have their phone number. You're going to get their voicemail probably 90% of the time. So how about something like this? Hey, Royal, this is Scott Nelson. Just checking in with you. I saw that you wanted some information about OnPassive. I sent you a simple presentation page. You can see 3 videos about what OnPassive is and the dream that our founder has, and blah, blah, blah. Listen to those 2 videos. They're about 25 minutes each. And then one of our leaders with Global Founder, Scott Nelson, has a full 40-minute presentation that will give you more details of what it's going to be like and how you earn and how some of the benefits of OnPassive. And then if you want to get started, you'll see where it says become a founder. And you can just leave that message. It should be no more than 1 minute. Don't go on for 10 or 15 minutes like I do, because I talk and I never stop. But you just need to keep it real simple. Remember, focus, and do it every day. Always think about, number 1, how many names, how many contacts can I capture their name and their email at least? And if it's really a great home run lead, now I've got their phone number. Immediately, you go to your Excel spreadsheet or whatever system you're using to capture that or to keep that information where you can access it with the click of a button, add another name to it, and then at the end of the day or whenever you want, close it down, but make sure you save it so it adds the new leads. You do this along with any other lead gathering we're going to talk about, including the little emailing system I've been using for over 15 years, and you're going to see that list with your focus and daily commitment and consistency in 15 to 20 minutes a day grow to hundreds, if not thousands, each and every year, and then you'll never have an excuse to fail from home. Okay? So the key to the fortune, of course, is in building your list. And I would tell you that for the next 5 to 10 years, if you're going to continue in this industry, keep building, because it is responsible. Remember, I told you I started to work full-time from home 27 years ago, pretty much, as a single dad. Even though I was doing some stuff on the side because I wasn't making money yet, I ran into my mentor shortly after that, and he told me, he said, how many times do you get phone calls or does somebody pitch you on a business opportunity? I said, I don't know, 5, 10 times a week. He said, are you gathering and building relationship and keeping their information? I said, no, why would I do that? And he kind of shrugged his shoulders. He goes, well, I mean, you're throwing away $1 million a month or $1 million a year income, so you make up your own mind. So I learned how important list building is. That should be your most high priority when it comes to your business. Not running out there joining 6 businesses, because I'm going to tell you 99.9%. Listen, I've got a gal I know very well. I think there's been times when she's actively on Facebook, and she's a big Facebooker. She's promoting 3 or 4, even 5 businesses at a time. Or I see her with a travel program, then a credit card program, then a $25 program, then a Bitcoin program. And I'm wondering which way is the quickest way to destroy somebody's confidence. And believe me, I'm confessing, I've done that. Many of you know me, and you would say the same thing. We've all made that mistake. But see, this is giving back to you now so that you can learn from my mistakes. Don't do it. I'm going to tell you, 98% of you are failing in trying to do one business. Why would you think that you could do 2 or 3 businesses when you can't even do one? Use your head. Use your head. And I've given you some of the different techniques. It's so easy. I mean, you literally can go over to Facebook and you can just, here, let me go back over there again. I mean, I don't like Facebook, but I mean, I'm just talking. You can go anywhere online. You can go to it. Let's just go google.com. Let's try this. Network marketing groups. Let's just try it and see what we come up with. And, here you go. Stay away from these green. You can see paid ads. But you can go to, here's Meetup, Network Marketing Public Group. I wouldn't go to the Facebook groups. They're just, they're just a bunch of people over there. Here's association. I mean, there's just literally pages. Here's other network marketing groups and companies. Network marketing groups, network marketing companies. Just anywhere. But if I was going to do it this way, I would just go over to Facebook. If you don't have an account, set up an account. Doesn't cost you anything. And then just click up here and network marketing groups. Let's see here, network marketing. And there, look at that. Okay. So you can look right on here, and they'll usually tell you how many members, okay? Here's a good one, 69,000 members. You can go over here to that. Before you're going to get really access, you'll want to just join the group. You're just going to you'll have to wait for an approval. One of the moderators will have to, you'll be able to see once you become a friend, you'll actually be able to see all of the members' profiles, and you'll see some people that are undoubtedly over here promoting on passive or whatever business. You're not here to promote. You're here to build relationships. So you click join, and then they will approve you usually right away. Another thing that's really important, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about Facebook, is look for active posts. There's been 323 posts today, 8,800 in the last 30 days. The higher these numbers are, this number and this number, the better you want to get into it. If it says 2 posts today, 3 in the last 30 days, you've got a dead group. Because I don't care how many members, if they're not anybody posting or online checking this, a lot of people remember, they go, and here's their policies. Cell phone and personal information, our group does not tolerate. So you can't ask here, but you just talk to members and then send a friend request and say, let's talk offline. And then, they just don't want to clutter their group. So always don't go over there and post any ads. You can see what they're telling you. So that wouldn't be a bad one. Okay, let's look and see what else. You can look here, 78,000, 10 plus posts a day, and 77,000 members, 360 posts, 10,000 plus in the last. That's another good group. So you join the group, and then you can, once you're a member, like, let me see here. you know, this is another group. I've been over there before. This is Eric Warries. He's got a group. I think this is just his page where they want you to like it. But you can meet a lot of people. See, here's a gal that is a page, and you can follow, and then you can just click and see what that gets you to. Probably is not going to get you where you have an interactive, probably training. But here's the cool thing. You can come down here, and a lot of time there's comments. See here, Catherine, you can see she's a top fan. Usually you can see when they post. You know, here we go. Look for these people when they post. These are the targeted qualified people. Don't spam them. Don't really add them first. If they give you the opportunity to comment, then just comment, hey, I appreciate meeting you, Kathy. Good to be members of this information page or whatever. But usually you can add as a friend, and they might send you, who are you? Oh, I met you over on one of the Facebook pages. I saw your, but you know, if you're a guy, I recommend sticking with guys and not women, or at least maybe older women. I just think keeping it within the same sex is probably really good. So you get the idea of where I'm coming from with the different ways. I mean, we'll talk a little bit more, but I'm just going to focus in the last two trainings I'm going to do is how do we use the systems? How do we build relationships? What does a email look like? What is a non-spam email? What is a follow-up email? And I'm going to show you the platform and just how easy it is. But, you know, once again, you could have my platform, and if you don't have contacts, obviously you need to be building a list, okay? Now, there's some ways I'm going to show you tomorrow, and after number 3, I'm going to do the final lesson, and I'm going to show you some things that you can do in order to get some database of targeted leads. But do not, this is a red flag warning, do not throw hard-earned money away on wasted lists. The only list I buy and the list that I provide for sale to my team are ones that have been scrubbed and verified. If I went out and I spent 3 cents or 5 cents or 10 cents a lead, if they are worth anything, they're not worth a penny or half a penny if they aren't fully scrubbed. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get some bounce backs. If I were to go buy a list of 10,000 people for, you know, $500 or $300, I would probably get about maybe 60-70% bounce backs, which means you get an email that says undeliverable, you know, the worst things, because now you got to go through that sheet, and I'm going to show you how to do it, and you got to keep your sheet, your lead sheet, your Excel file clean, okay? So let's go back and just look what that looks like. So let's just say, I'm going to go down a ways because these I haven't scrubbed yet. Okay, so let's say I get a bounce back here from this guy. Okay, let's say I get a bounce back. I want to come in here. Let's just say CPR. I'm sorry, I've got to blow these up because I can't. This is one of the reasons I'm retiring, because I can't read the small print. So I'm going to blow it up. Okay, so let's look at MM Melanio. Okay, so I want to search for him because you're going to get a bounce back that says MM Melanio's no longer deliverable. Okay, I want to get rid of it, right? Because I want a clean database. I want to update it every time something bounces back. I want to come up in that little box, and I want to type in MMELO, enter, and see how it puts a box around that right here. Then you go up to edit and delete. Then it's going to give you here, and I want that cell to be deleted, but I also want to move everything up and keep it tight. So that's where I click on Shift Cells Up, okay? So what I do here is okay, and look, it just deleted him. Now he's gone, okay? So I hope you can see how simple this is. It's so important to keep that list that you are building really, really clean. Okay, I think we'll go ahead and stop there. We try to keep these things under an hour, and I think this might be even under 45 minutes today. And tomorrow's where the fun really begins, because the next 2 days, you're going to be equipped with everything you need that will allow you to build a list of thousands, not just leads. Remember, we talked about buying leads? Well, just imagine the difference between maybe buying a 5-cent lead that you got 60 or 70% bounce back. So if you bought, let's say, a list of 5 or 10,000 emails, only 1,500 would not bounce back. That would be sad. It would make you work hours and hours, and the list really, I would say, is not worth keeping. Okay, I'm going to show you some ways to prevent that, but I'm also going to show you a provider that I use that gives me verified scrubbed email lists. And then normally what I do is about every 3 months is I re-scrub it with my own service. I pay for it, and it just verifies that an email is pretty much about 90% accurate, is a good email. Now, remember, just because it doesn't bounce back does not mean it's going to ever be seen or make it to the inbox. I do, in my platform that I use, in my system that I've been using, I write a couple of different types of emails, and I will be covering that tomorrow. Because my goal when I do my email marketing is what? It's to get the email into the email box, the inbox, not the junk or the spam. Just think of yourself. If you saw something in your junk, would you even waste your time opening it? No. 99.9% of the times, I just delete all of the messages in my junk email, unless I'm looking for a message back from on passive, because sometimes company emails that have links or invites, they do end up, but usually not, because I usually whitelist them, and I'll show you how to do that in tomorrow's training. Pretty simple to do. So I think this is an exciting time. So tomorrow what we're going to cover is we're going to actually show you step by step the system that I've been using for over 15 years. I built a list at one time up to 90,000 contacts. Since that time, over the last 15 years, I think it's down to probably maybe 30,000. I keep scrubbing it. I keep trying to add to it. But now, like I said, this is the final deal for me. I just want to give back to you. So as we come to our third training tomorrow, I'm going to give you the system and show you how easy it is. I'm going to show you examples of, and I'm going to provide you with at least 4 or 5 of those in the last training. So you can copy the format on my first email, which I call a non-spam email, has no links, no phone number, just my name, and you'll see how that works. Very short, usually less than probably 3 short paragraphs, maybe 100 to 200 words, because the average person that does open that email, if you don't catch their attention in the first 10 to 20 seconds, they're just going to delete it. So you've got a very narrow time frame, and people don't like to see any links. They don't like to see any contact information. I don't even mention the name of the company, so you'll see that. And then I'll show you subsequent, when somebody responds, what you do next, and so forth. I'm also starting tomorrow, and the final training the day after is I'm going to give any of you that need a starting database, you're going to have to look at your finances, because I'm not giving my own database away, but I'm going to tell you what, I've got very, very good database that's been scrubbed and good. So if any of you are saying, well, that's great, I got the training going on, once we finish up here in a couple of days, what am I going to do? Because I still don't have anybody to email my non-spam email to, and you're going to need contacts. So I'm going to recommend a reliable company. It's much more expensive than what I'm going to offer. I'm going to have very limited amount, probably less than 100,000 files, and I'm going to break those up into manageable. 5,000 is going to be the minimum, and I'll give you more details. So for any of you that are going to want database, it's going to be on a first come, first serve basis. When I sell out because I'm walking away and I'm not planning to do any more business in the future, they will be exclusively yours. I'm not going to sell them to anybody else. obviously require a payment. I'll give you more information. I'm just not going to give it away. It took me 17 years to build it. And I would say, as you build your database over the coming years and months ahead, when you decide to move on or retire, keep your database and keep it active and clean and scrubbed, and add to it every day until you decide to walk away, like I'm doing, from building any new opportunities. And it will be of a good value, and you can pass it on through offering it to your group that's moving forward. Even when you're stepping away or doing something different, it has great value. Good data, I'm talking about good data that I get. Usually I get about 10% bounce back. If you go out and try to find a list on your own, you're going to be looking at 30 to 70% bounce back. So would you rather pay a half a cent or 10 cents or 5 cents for something that you knew was already scrubbed and you were going to get, 80 to 90% of the ones we're going to get delivered? Now, I'm not saying opened and read. I said delivered, whether it's into an inbox or a spam folder, because remember, you cannot control where a email server is set, whether it's by the individual that you're mailing or by a company. For instance, if you send an email with a link in it to Comcast or use the MSN, it will never even show up in the spam folder. That's how bad it is. So that's why we use a non-spam, and we'll talk about that tomorrow, because we can get those in, if carefully written and short and concise and not looking conspicuous. At least a high percentage of those will get to the inbox. And without getting to the inbox, believe me, you have zero chance of that email being read. So we got a lot to cover. I'm so happy that you're here. Remember, down below here is my email. So if you have any questions, you can email me. Remember, I don't care if you have my number. I'm not answering calls to talk about this. I'm retiring and I'm investing the last 10 hours per week for as long as I have the strength to do it, committed to On Passive, Go Founders, and to Ash. That's just the way I want to finish out, and I'm anticipating that we're getting closer and closer to the launch. So if you don't have any information and you haven't joined On Passive, and I invited you to the training here, make sure you get that information. You're going to want to have that platform, because that will put your list building and your income building on hyper steroids. Is that exciting? So get back to the person if they've ever mentioned On Passive and Go Founders, and go back to that person if you're comfortable, and get them to get you registered, get your founder's position. I think that's going to go away in the next few weeks now. Not sure, but I think we're getting close to the actual beta testing of the On Passive platform. Once that happens, there'll be, as far as I have heard, no more opportunities to become a founder. So that's my passion, On Passive. I'm 100% in it to win it, committed, doing webinars, helping Ash any way I can, teaching, training, and I love it. So, but if you have any questions about this training or any others, just fire me an email right there to scottcarlnelson@gmail.com. That's what we've got for today. God bless you, and we'll see you tomorrow.